The key to a successful marriage is found in these two words: love and respect. The Bible says, wives, submit to your husbands, even as the church submits to Christ. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church. And then it says, husbands, love your wives, even as Christ loved the church, and he gave himself up for her. The husband's service to his wife is to love her even as Christ loved the church and he gave himself up for her. Which means that you must love your wife to the extent of giving up yourself for her. What does it mean to give up yourself for your wife? It means two things. That you give up or you let go of anything that you know makes your wife sad. And that you decide or choose to do the things you know will make her happy. This means that you must be willing to let go of certain habits, certain hobbies, certain relationships and activities which you know are not good for your marriage, which you know are making your wife sad instead of making her happy. Giving yourself up for your wife also means that you are willing to do anything in your power to take care of your wife. That's what it means to give up yourself for your wife. It does not mean that you go and die for her. No. But even if it comes to that level, you must be willing to die for her. Because your wife is your own body. The same way that you treat your own body, you must treat your wife. Now, the Bible also goes on to say that wives submit to your husbands, which means that the wife's service to her marriage is to submit to her husband, even as the church submits to Christ. So how does the church submit to Christ? The church submits to Christ as their Lord and Master, which means that the wife must submit to her husband as her master. How do you treat your master? How do you treat your Lord? You don't argue with him. You don't question his decisions. You submit to him. You respect him. Does it mean you don't reason with your husband? You do. Because even the church has a place where we are given the liberty to reason with the Lord. But we do so in his word, not against his word. So if you have to reason with your husband, make sure you do so in his will, not against him. So if you want to tame a stubborn husband, the key is in submitting to him. The Bible says, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters you are if you do well and are not afraid. There are so many women who are afraid of submitting to their husbands. They feel if they submit to them, then their husbands will step on them. But I can assure you, you got it all wrong. On the contrary, when you submit to your husband, when you treat him with respect, when you treat him as your master, when you regard him as your Lord, all you do is you invite him to begin to respond to you. There is no man that will not respond to a woman who shows him utmost respect. Let me tell you a secret, ladies. Men respond to two people. They respond to people who are higher than them because they have no option but to respect them. And they also respond to people who are lower than them or people who are submitted to them. But men will always resist, or they will treat as competition, or they will treat as a threat anybody who is their equal. Let me tell you something, wife. If you ever bring your husband to a place where he feels you are becoming his equal, he is going to resist you. So the key is simple. If you want that guy to stop being stubborn around you, align yourself lower than him. It does not mean that he's your superior, no. But the Bible says even Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord. If you treat your husband as your Lord, if you treat him as your master, I can assure you what you have been desiring for him to treat you with love, he will love you. There is no man that will not respond to a woman who treats him as his master, who makes him feel like king in his own house. If you want that guy to respond to you, lift him so high, make him feel like he's the king, make him feel like he's the boss, make him feel like he's the master in your house. And that's when you receive the best of your husband. And also the key to taming a stubborn wife is to treat her with love. Every woman in this world desires to have a husband who loves her. If you want to tame that stubborn woman, love her. And by the way, if you're experiencing stubbornness from your wife, it is very possible that you have not yet applied the key, which is love. Every woman responds to love. So we are called to love and respect each other. Marriage thrives on those two. If you've not been treating your husband with respect, that's the reason he's becoming more stubborn to you. Don't forget that husbands have ego. Yes, one of the ways to show your wife that you love her is to give up your ego. But also wives, one of the way that you show your husband that you respect them is to lift their ego, is to lift their esteem, is not to take them down. So a key to a successful marriage is in love and respect. Stay blessed.